Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Sandra. First, let's do the pleasantries, okay? 大家好，你们好吗？ Ooh, it's a little bit glitchy today for some reason. Last but not least, 欢迎 Welcome to Community Mandarin. Today, as the title suggests, we're going to be learning one Chinese characters. I know, over the courses of several months when I'm here, I usually talk about some grammar points or a group of words that I personally see useful. We don't cover a lot of Chinese characters, but like I said, like eventually, if you want to learn Mandarin like in depth, one day you're gonna say goodbye to pinyin and then move on to Chinese characters. So first, let's see. Okay, my Mercury retrograde shirt, is it backwards to you guys? Because I never know how the how this StreamYard thing works. So hopefully it's not backwards. All right. So sorry. I'm straying it again. Let's get back to the topic we're about to talk about today. We're gonna learn one Chinese characters, which is this one. Yeah, it looks like it's not very hard to write. It has 4 strokes, and then it is pronounced. 请跟我读车 is any kind of vehicles, any kind of automobiles. So if you learn about 车, basically you covered a large portion of transportation means in Mandarin. So, but I have to say, 车 does not always pronounced as 车. In ancient times, it actually have another pronunciation. You don't have to remember it because well, I doubt you would ever use that a lot. So in ancient time, it also pronounced as 居. I shouldn't say in ancient times, but nowadays it is still pronounced 居 when it is when it is a part of the chess, the Chinese version of chess game. So it functions as rook in international chess. Which rook I did a little bit Googling and means castle. So I don't know, because in Chinese chess, when it is pronounced ju, it actually still means 车, means a battle wagon. So I have reason to believe nowadays we use 车 as all kinds of vehicle, but the meaning was evolved from the old times. Okay, so if this Chinese characters has 2 pronunciations, if it's too much for you to remember, just remember it as 车 vehicles. 车. Okay. And next up, let's learn about the different sorts of 车 vehicles. All right. First, let's read it. The first one, 汽车. 汽车. 汽车 is a car. Next up, 火车. 火车. 火車 is train. And if anybody is curious, 火 actually means fire. So fire vehicle. Okay, next up, 自行車. The pronunciation is a little bit tricky, so let's do it again. This time slower. 自行車. 自行車 is bicycle. 自 actually it's a short term for 自己, which means myself. 行 is another word for walking. So the reason we call bicycle 自行車 is because basically you have to do the work yourself. You have to put in your effort to make it go. And next one, 摩托車. 摩托車. As you can see, 摩托車 is motorcycle or motorbike. This is one we kind of borrowed the pronunciation from English, and we find 2 similar pronounced characters. So that one should be easy to remember. 摩托車 is motorbike or motorcycle. And next up, we have 卡車. 卡車. 卡車 is truck. 卡車 is truck. Okay, now you can see basically every kind of vehicle it is 车. No matter it is something you have to drive or you have to ride. And that means something. You will see in a moment. And next up, let's look at some functions about cars. So first one, school bus. Again, we use 车, 校车,校车. 校车 is school bus. 校 is short for 学校, which means school. And next up, we have 警车,警车. 警车 is police car or police vehicle, any kind of them. Usually they're cars. Okay. 警 is short for 警察, which means police. Now you see how we are putting characters together to mean words. And next up we have, this one is a little bit longer, so let's do it slowly. 救护车,救护车,救护车 is ambulance. So if you want to know, 救 is a verb. It means to save somebody's life or save somebody from a very bad situation. So if I want to say save me, I could say 救救我. Save me. 救救我. It's actually it is true. Yeah. And then 护 is short for 保护, means to protect. So that's basically the function of an ambulance, is to save and to protect sick people or people who are injured or people who are in need of help. And next up, we have 消防车,消防车. Again, I guess you can guess, like 车 part, it covers the part of truck. 消防, 消 means to distinguish. 防 means to prevent. So when 消防 put together, it is a term specifically for fire prevention or for putting out fire. It is a formal term for, anyway, whatever the firefighters do. Okay, so 消防车 is fire trucks. Okay, now that we talk about all different kinds of cars or different functions of cars, and then they all share the same word, 车. And we probably pronounced it about like 10 times. So hopefully that's something you would remember. And after this, we have to learn, I would say, 3 verbs to go with the 车 we're talking about. And if you manage to master those, I think we're pretty good at learning about the vehicles. 车, okay. So over here, we have 3 short sentences. They all started with 我爱. So first one, 我骑车,我骑车 means I ride a vehicle. So by saying that, you can see in this case, the vehicle can only be something that you can ride, like you ride a horse. So if I say 我骑车, I am indicating that basically I ride a bike or I ride a motorcycle. Next up, we have 我开车. 开 is a verb with several different meanings. But over here, when it is paired with vehicles, with 车, it means to drive. So if I say 我开车, I drive a vehicle. So it cannot be a bike anymore because that's not something you drive, right? So if I say 我开车, this probably means my car or my truck, which I don't have. My husband have a truck, but I don't know how to do it that thing. So it's the kind of vehicle that requires driving. Okay, and then the last one, last but not least, we have 我坐车,我坐车. As you can see, 坐 is a verb. It means to sit. If we want somebody to take a seat, you can simply say 请坐, please sit. 请坐, please sit. It's actually a very frequently used phrase and a very polite one, I would say. Okay, so but if I say 我坐车, I sit on a car. You can guess what that means, right? Means I ride on that vehicle as a passenger. I'm not driving it, I'm not riding it, but I only sit there and somebody else is gonna take me somewhere. Okay, so now we see the 3 verbs, and then we can go back a little bit and practice them with the cars we learned over here. So if I say I drive a car, you can say 我开汽车, right? If I say I ride on the train, which means I'm not like doing the action of riding on the train, but I ride on the train as a passenger, we should say 我坐火车, 我坐火车. Technically I sit on the train. And the next one, if I want to say I ride a bike, I can say 我骑自行车, 我骑自行车. Next up, for a motorcycle, a motorbike, similarly, we say 我骑摩托车, 我骑摩托车. Of course, if you want to be really technical, if you sit like behind the rider as a passenger, you can say 我坐摩托车, of course. Next up, if you drive a car, you drive a truck, 我开卡车, 我开卡车. All right. Over here, if you say I'm a student, I ride the school bus every day. You can say 我坐校车, 我坐校车. Technically, I'm a passenger. I don't personally drive the school bus. And I don't know if it's appropriate to make examples with the stuff below school bus, like police car, ambulance, and fire truck. But from the previous examples that I just made, you can see if it's a vehicle that require you to personally put in the efforts of riding, you use the verb 骑. If it's a vehicle that you drive, like your hands on the wheel, 2 and 10, right? You use the verb 开. And if you're just simply there as a passenger, you are not doing any of the driving or riding, you use the verb 坐. Okay. Hopefully that's a decent explanation of the 3 verbs that we used in pair with 车. And yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And before we say goodbye, before we 说再见, as always, I encourage you guys to visit Rolla's website, and I will see you this Thursday. 再见。